Harry from Cog vs Glass here, and today I'm going to be doing an unboxing of my new toy, and that is the Canon EOS M. Now, it's Canon's first entry into the mirrorless market, and they're pretty much the last major manufacturer to get into the mirrorless game. Nikon, Sony, Panasonic, and Olympus have had theirs out for pretty much a year now, and Canon is the latest entry. Does it meet up to people's expectations? I'll actually be doing a proper review in another video, but this is going to be an unboxing to just show you what you get when you buy a Canon EOS M. So let's have a look.
So guys, here we have the box, and the first thing I should probably go over is that for some unknown reason, and I'm not going to go into it, this box is not the box for the camera that is inside. This box is for the EOS M body, of course, as standard, and because we have the European version, we do have the included Speedlight. But the one inside this box is not the one that comes with the adapter that gives you full compatibility with EOS ranges of lenses and the pancake 22mm lens. It is the standard 18 to 55mm lens instead. So let's get in and have a look. The first thing that we're going to see when we open the box is, of course, the paperwork. Now, of course, this isn't the most exciting part of the box, but every product must come with it. So we've got CDs, of course, which is going to give you software to install. Of course, if you're using this on something like a Mac, you're probably never going to need these because you can import them straight into either iPhoto or Aperture. You're not really going to need them. Of course, we've got things like a manual, which is, again, pretty boring. You can read through it if you want. And a nice little booklet from Canon just going over some things like photography basics, lenses, focusing, almost a little photography 101, which is quite nice, I guess, to include for some of the maybe photographers that are buying this that may be at the more entry level and novice level. As we go open and have a look at the box here, and the first thing we come across is the strap, of course. It's a nice red accent strap with Canon and EOS on either end. It is quite a thin strap, so if you want a bit more comfort, you may want to get a slightly thicker one. Now, looking at the ends of the strap here, we see we've got a slightly unusual clasp design. It's not the standard attachment you would get to a normal DSLR, so we'll have a look at that in a second and see how that works. Then, of course, on the top here, as I was saying earlier, because this is the European version, we do get the included Speedlight flash, which does not come with the camera if you buy it in other countries such as the US. It's fairly nice and small. It's quite a compact design where it takes AAA batteries. One thing to remember is it does not come with any batteries, so you will have to buy some separately if you've got some lying around. Yeah, a nice little flash there. Be handy to have with you. Of course, one of the burdens is that it's separate. It's not built into the camera itself, so you have to carry it around if you want to use your flash photography. Now, of course, it doesn't angle or swivel like any of the more expensive speed lights, but it's just a very basic speed light or flashing stick on the top. But it does have a little locking mechanism there, as you can see, that you can lock and it will stay on top of the camera and not fall off. Now, of course, next to this we have the camera body itself. Now, looking at the camera body, whoops, looking at the camera body here, it is fairly nice design. It's really weighty. It feels really great in the hand. It's a solid build. It's a really nice, sturdy construction with a black metal finish, kind of like a slightly roughish finish on the paint there. It's got a few rubber grips around the side and the back, but very minimalistic controls, as many people have pointed out before. Going around the device, of course, we've got hot shoe on the top, we've got microphone, stereo, and a speaker port. On the bottom, we have a battery door, and then, of course, the SD card slot on the bottom. We have a standard screw tripod mount, and we have a door on the side that contains things like a microphone input, HDMI, and a AV out to connect into your computer. Now, the microphone port, of course, kind of highlights that this camera may be used for more serious photography with external microphones and very good for video. Looking at the front, of course, we've got one of the grips on the front. Many have criticised this camera for not having great grip, and it is quite a compact body, and I'll be going into that a little bit later in a separate video. On the side here, we have the button that releases the lens on the camera, and then at the top here we have a infrared light and of course the orange autofocus light that shines out the front when you're autofocusing. Taking the cap off the front here, we can see the huge 16 megapixel APS-C size sensor in the middle. It's a big sensor for a camera of this type, and then we've got all the pins of course on the bottom that are going to control things like autofocus and image stabilization on all the lenses, which of course they're capable of. So just putting that to one side now. Next we're going to have a look at the lens itself. Now the lens as well, like the body of the camera, is amazingly well built. The quality and finish of this lens is second to none. Again, it's a very weighty item and it feels super sturdy in the hands. Now of course, as we can see around the side, it is a 18 to 55mm lens, so you get very standard zoom ranges here. And it has a manual focus ring on the end as well. It is an image stabilizer lens, so you're going to get nice and sturdy images. Now looking at the obviously the overall build quality of the lens, taking the caps off the back and the front, this lens just screams even more quality. It's built to such finite tolerances, and it's just a really beautiful lens, and it really does show kind of what you're paying for with this kit, because it is a very high quality build lens. So looking at the other components in the box here, of course we've got this standard charger, which houses the removable lithium-ion battery. Very standard stuff there. We've obviously got the lead, which is the UK power plug, of course, and then after that we've got the USB lead, an AV lead, but I'll probably just be using the SD card out of the camera straight into the computer to do that. And then of course we've got the battery itself, and a lot of people have said this battery is quite low capacity, so we'll have a look at the capacity for taking shots of that later. So now we're just going to put the camera together and see what it looks like when it's finally assembled. So looking at the camera now, we've got the four major components here. We have the camera itself, of course the body, the lens, the flash and the strap. So first thing we're going to do is take the cap off the body itself and the back cap, the attaching end of the lens. Now of course it does have the standard white dots that we line up on the rim there, which we just place together and twist clockwise, and we get a very sturdy click as they go into place. Now of course that's the main part of the body assembled, and as we can see and feel, it's a very sturdy connection made between the two. Now moving on to these strange little clasp attachments that we have here, which again I said aren't very standard for SLR cameras. We can see that what they do is it's just kind of like a loop design that slips over the loop on the camera itself. And then there's a little sort of turning head, almost like a screw on the side there, which we have to turn to meet the two white lines on the side, and that's going to hold that clasp in place. Now it is more secure than you would think. The first thing I thought of it was, is this going to be secure enough like a standard DSLR handle, but I found it to be very good and have a smooth rotation as well as the camera moves around inside these clasps. So we're just going to go ahead and pop on the second one now, and you can just use your fingers to do this. As I've shown you, you don't need a screwdriver or anything like that. It's fairly easy. So next what we're going to have a look at, of course, is just popping on the flash. Now this is of course the simplest part of the whole thing. It's just a standard hot shoe assembly, and then we've got the little lock button on the back there which we can flick across, and the flash is now on. And that's pretty much the completely assembled camera. And as you can see just by looking at it, it looks, in my opinion, it's a very attractive camera design, especially with the black. You can get it in separate colours, but I think the black is slightly the more professional one. In my opinion, it is a little bit front heavy with that lens. If you hold it up just with the strap, it does tend to bow forward a little bit with the weight of that lens, but you know, that can't be helped. And that's basically the completed product. So I'm going to be doing another video later on the sort of review and actually using the camera. But for now, this is just an unboxing. So this is Barry from Copper vs Glass, taking a first unboxing look at the Canon EOS M, and I'll catch you guys in another video for the full review. See you later.